Vote counting is continuing in several key states in the US presidential election, with neither Donald Trump nor Joe Biden yet guaranteed victory. But Mr. Biden is now projected to have won Wisconsin, leaving him potentially just one state away from winning.
The Trump campaign has launched legal action to suspend counting in several states and wants the courts to examine claims of irregularities in the process.
Supporters of Donald Trump have been protesting outside some counting centres, claiming the process is unfair. Meanwhile, Joe Biden's supporters have been calling for every vote to be counted.
Nevada, Arizona, Georgia, North Carolina and Pennsylvania have yet to confirm a winner, with both campaigns saying they could still win in all of them.
Ryan show, while discussing her post-baby breast growth, Mila Kunis reacts to a photo of Chad Tatum seemingly staring at her boobs.
And it looked like Channing Tatum was staring at...
I haven't seen this.
Yeah, he's... Because there are changes that the body goes through, and it looks like he's busted for staring at
Hold on.
your breasts.
That's awful. Here's the thing. I swear, I know him and I love him. He really...
We start in the United States, where the race for the White House is narrowing as the votes are tallied. Both candidates remain within reach of the 270 electoral votes needed to take the presidency. And Republican incumbent Donald Trump has laid the groundwork for a legal battle to contest the results. With much of the electoral map filled in, ABC News is projecting Democratic challenger Joe Biden will win Michigan and Wisconsin. But several other states, including the key battlegrounds of North Carolina and Pennsylvania, are still up in the air. As the race drags on, Biden's campaign has launched a transition team website. It says they'll continue preparing so the Biden administration can hit the ground running on day one if he wins. The candidate says he feels confident he'll come out on top, urging patience as votes are counted. Now, it could be days before vote counting finishes in Pennsylvania. Mail-in ballots are still being tabulated there, and Trump's lead is shrinking. Trump took to Twitter to cast doubt on the validity of the election. He claimed, without evidence, his lead in key states started to magically disappear because of purported ballot dumps. His camp says it'll ask for a recount in Wisconsin, alleging irregularities. It's also launching lawsuits to stop vote counting in some key states.
Every vote counts! Count every vote! Every vote counts!
Disgruntled voters took to the streets across the nation, demanding that all votes be counted. Now, the United States has officially withdrawn from the Paris Agreement, a landmark global deal on fighting climate change. Trump said the accord unfairly restricts the U.S. manufacturing industry, but Biden has vowed to rejoin if he's elected. The State Department said in a statement, the government remains committed to protecting the environment while promoting economic growth. The pullout on Wednesday by the world's second-largest greenhouse gas emitter comes exactly 1 year after Trump announced his plan to withdraw. A Japanese expert says the move could have a domino effect on other countries.
If the U.S. continues to distance itself from the international framework, that could undermine the credibility and effectiveness of the Paris Agreement.
Out of the 197 signatories to the 2015 deal, the United States is the only country to have abandoned it. Japan's top government spokesperson called the action extremely regrettable, a sentiment shared in a joint statement by the United Nations, Britain, and others. Police in Hong Kong have launched a new hotline they say will allow people to report threats to national security anonymously. But pro-democracy lawmakers are criticizing the move, saying it'll erode trust between residents in the territory. Police announced the move on Thursday. They say the hotline will be handled by a unit that deals with the national security law. That law purportedly restricts anti-government activities. But critics say it undermines Hong Kong's autonomy and infringes on freedom of expression. Police are also calling on the public to report threats to national security by email and through social media. A TV producer in Hong Kong was recently arrested in connection with a program critical of the police. A number of pro-democracy activists have also been taken into custody. Police say those arrests were made following tips from the public. Pro-democracy lawmakers say the hotline will have a chilling effect if it makes residents more fearful of voicing their political views. Japan is accusing China of repeatedly engaging in illegal fishing in its exclusive economic zone. The top government spokesperson says maritime authorities have issued more than 4,000 warnings to Chinese fishing boats this year alone.
A large number of foreign boats have entered Japan's exclusive economic zone for illegal fishing. This threatens Japanese fishers, and we consider it extremely problematic.
The area called Yamato-tai is known as one of the most productive fishing areas in the Sea of Japan. Kato said the government will strengthen its surveillance around the area to maintain safe navigation for Japanese fishers. And now to China, where the government wants to open the Chinese market to the world. So it's hosting an import fair with exhibits from countries including Japan. The China International Import Expo is running for 6 days in Shanghai. The organizers say they're taking measures to prevent coronavirus infections. They're requiring participants to be tested. The exhibitors include about 400 companies and groups from Japan. The Japan External Trade Organization is showcasing products such as sake made in various regions. A company based in the western prefecture of Wakayama is offering samples of plum liqueur.
The Chinese market is attractive. We want to find distributors and increase our sales.
The expo was first held in 2018. President Xi Jinping proposed it as a way to boost imports in the midst of trade friction with the United States. This year, it opened 2 days after the U.S. presidential election. One businessperson said he has high hopes for growth in the Chinese market, but he's also concerned about trade friction.
It's inconceivable the relations between China and the U.S. won't impact business. I hope the impact is minimal.
The number of daily coronavirus cases here in Japan has topped 1,000 for the first time in over 2 months. That brings the overall total to about 105,000 infections. Over 1,800 people have died. Health ministry officials are also reporting a growing number of cluster infections nationwide. The latest data shows that figure hit 103 for the week through Monday, up from 65 over the previous 7 days. The largest number of clusters centered on offices, either in government or the private sector. Others involved restaurants, welfare facilities, schools, or medical institutions. During the 4 weeks through Monday, authorities reported cluster infections at nearly 350 sites. That's almost a fifth of all clusters confirmed in Japan so far. England began a second nationwide lockdown on Thursday following a rapid rise in coronavirus infections. A total of 492 people died across the UK the previous day, the highest level since May. Restrictions will be in place until December 2nd. During this period, people will have to stay at home, leaving only for daily necessities and other specified activities. Only essential retailers such as supermarkets and pharmacies will stay open. Ahead of the lockdown, many people were seen dining in restaurants and shopping in central London.
I think if it's a month, it's all right, but if it's going to be for like 2 months, I think it will be hard.
Prime Minister Boris Johnson has repeatedly said he hopes the latest measures will only last a month to mitigate the impact on the economy. Meanwhile, the Italian government has announced more stringent restrictions to contain a resurgence of infections. The country's daily tally of new cases topped 30,000 on Wednesday.
There's no other choice but to impose restrictions to stop the rapid spread of infection.
Restrictions include a nighttime curfew from 10 p.m. with exemptions for work, health reasons, and emergencies. The measure will be imposed nationwide on Friday and run until December 3rd. In addition, a 2-week daytime curfew is being imposed in 4 regions where the spread of infection is most serious. These include Lombardy in the north and Calabria in the south. Residents in these areas will not be allowed to leave their homes except for reasons related to work, health, and emergencies. Now, according to Johns Hopkins University in the United States, there have been more than 48 million cases worldwide. Over 1.2 million people have died.